Hello friends, in previous sessions we discussed the simple design, how to design a simple machine element like design of knuckle joint, design of motor joint. Here in today's session we will discuss the different type of levers and how to design a levers. So basically first the lever is a mechanical device in the form of rigid bar pivoted about the fulcrum. Here you can see the fulcrum, that is pure this long bar is pivoted about this point, that is called as fulcrum. The purpose of this is to multiply or transfer the forces. Here at one end we have to apply some force, and at the other end, that is the effect of that force will be there. Sometimes it is required to raise the load, sometimes it is required to lower the load, or any other applications. So that is the basic function of lever. Here you can see there are two arms of the levers, toward the right side or where the P is acting, and toward the left where the W is acting. That lengths are nothing but LW and LP. Right? So basic function of the lever or basic purpose of the lever is to get a mechanical advantage. So what is mean by the mechanical advantage? Mechanical advantage is nothing but, here you can see, the load to be raised or load to be lowered divided by effort applied. Here at the one end we need to apply a effort, and due to that effort the load is getting raised or load is getting lower. So that is W divided by P is nothing but mechanical advantage. So to get the larger amount of loads to be lifted, we have to apply a smaller amount of effort. So that is the main advantage of the lever, and that is called as mechanical advantage. Right? So load to be raised divided by effort to be applied. Right? So this is main purpose of the lever, and the leverage, the function of that leverage is nothing but how to calculate that leverage is effort arm length, that is LP, and divided by load arm length, LW. You can see here we have we required a mechanical advantage always greater than 1, because W is more and effort applied is to be low. To raise the larger load we have to apply a smaller amount of effort. That is what the advantage. So the mechanical advantage should always greater than 1, and that is preferable. So here you can see the basic lever is there. That is only the playing purpose. It is not having a mechanical advantage more than 1. The mechanical advantage here is nothing but it depends on these kids where they are using that. So basically it is nothing but fulcrum. That is simple example I will show here. The load, and here at the one end effort to be applied. So this effort arm, in that case, in this seesaw, the effort arm and load arm are having the same length, right? So it is nothing but the one example, simple example. So basically there are three classes of the levers. We have to study the types of levers. So three classes of the levers are there. In first class, you can see here, in first class fulcrum is at the end of at the middle or at the in between the input force and output force, that is load to be lifted and put. So this is nothing but first class lever. You can see here the example of that first class lever. Then second category, in that second category, that fulcrum pin, you can see the fulcrum pin is here at the end, right? So here weight output force, here that load is to be lifted, and here you have to apply the input force. Here you can see the example, simple example of that second type of lever. And third type of lever is nothing but this one, where fulcrum is at the end. But here what is the difference between second and third class is nothing but input force is in between that fulcrum and output force. Here output force is in between fulcrum and input force. That is the only difference. The force is getting interchanged. So this is nothing but the third class of lever. So we will discuss that in brief. So this is first class of lever. So here is the class 1 category of lever. Here lever having the fulcrum pin located between load point and effort point. Here we can see the fulcrum pin is between load point and effort point. Right? So this is example of rocker arm. Examples are nothing but rocker arm and belt crank lever in that case. Here you can see the example also. In that class 1 type of lever, mechanical advantage is always greater than 1, as effort arm is longer than the load arm. Here you can see this is the effort arm, and this effort arm is longer than the load arm, load to be raised. So that's why here mechanical advantage is greater, and that is preferred type of levers. Means we have to apply small amount of force to raise large amount of force. That is class 1 category. Similarly, class 2 category levers are nothing but here lever having load point located between the fulcrum and effort point. Means what? The output point force is in between fulcrum pin and input force. Here also we can see the example of this is nothing but safety lever for the boilers. In the boilers, pressure safety valves are there. In that pressure safety valves, this type of levers are used. So here is also the mechanical advantage is greater than 1, as effort arm is longer than the load arm. You can see the effort arm longer than the load arm. This one is nothing but the load arm, and effort arm is total this one. So here example of class 2 type of lever. And the class 3 type of lever, that class 3 type of lever, the effort point located between the fulcrum and load point. Here you can see the input force, that is in that effort we have to apply. Here you can see the input force in between output force and fulcrum. But in that case, here the mechanical advantage is not greater than 1 in that lever, class 3 type of lever. You can see the example, large amount of force is to be required to be lifted, as this is not preferable type of levers. That levers are not been used in the mechanical engineering or mechanical any application. So here you can see the example, pair of turns, the table of saving machines. Likewise, these are some limited applications of that class 3 type of lever. As this mechanical advantage is less than 1, these are levers are very limitedly used, or just we avoid the uses of that class 3 type of lever. So here how to design the lever. Basically the lever is to be decided on the basis of leverage requirement. That is nothing but the given load F by means of the effort P. So length of the lever we have to decide first. So in the design of lever, we must identify first what are the different types or what are the different components or what is to be designed in the lever. So here you can see the lever. In that lever, what we have to design is nothing but, so in that lever, there are generally only the two parts are there. Here one is nothing but lever arms, right? The total length of the lever arm, there are two arms are there, effort arm, this L1, and load arm, that is L2. So this effort arm and length we need to calculate first. Then we have to calculate cross section of that lever. Here different types of cross sections of the lever are used. That cross section we need to identify or we need to design. And third is nothing but this middle portion, fulcrum. There is a pin. So fulcrum pin we need to design. So that three parts we have to just design in the design of levers. So first step in the design is nothing but force analysis. So in any application, the load or effort F, that is F to be exerted on the lever is given. What load to be lifted or load, what type of load or what amount of load to be raised or lower, that is given in the application, or we know that first initial condition. And after that we have to find out the effort required to produce the that force arm. That force means we need to identify this effort P to produce force F at the other end of lever. So that can be calculated by simple, by taking moment about the fulcrum pin. So therefore the F, how to take the moment is nothing but F into L2, that F force into L2 distance is equal to P into L1. We have to take moment about this point. So both the forces are downward. So these are nothing but equal and equal forces. The equal moments are there toward the left side and toward the right side. So this is nothing but by that we can know the value of effort required to lift the load F, right, by this equation. Now we have to calculate the reactions. R is nothing but reaction at the fulcrum pin. Here at the fulcrum pin, due to that force P and F, the reaction will be there. So that reaction we need to calculate. So as we discussed, there are two types of levers are being used in the various applications. So this is first type of lever and this one is the second type of lever. How first and second? You can see here the fulcrum is at the middle, at the in between the P and F, and here F, a force to be lifted, is in between the fulcrum pin and effort applied. So this is two types of lever, first type and the second type. Okay, so we have to find out the reactions. The reactions can simply find out by the considering the all summation of all vertical forces is 0. Like that, for the fulcrum first pin or by the first type of lever, R is equal to F into P. R, here we can see the R, here F and P are downward and R is upward force. Here in the second type of lever, the all the vertical forces, summation of all the vertical forces is equal to 0. By getting that, F is upward force, reaction, and P is the downward force. So F is equal to R plus P. That is the difference between first type of lever and second type of lever. That is how we calculated the forces in that. Let's resume here. So if here you can see the levers are nothing but straight levers. Both the type of levers are nothing but here straight one. But if the angular type of lever are there like this, then how to find out the reaction? So by that, how to find out the reaction is here. You can see by that R, if for the angular contact lever, if the lever arms having inclined at an angle of theta, then how to find out the reaction at fulcrum pin R? By that equation, we can simply find out under root of F square plus P square minus 2 PF cos of theta. Right? Sometimes this angle theta is 90 degree. Then it is called as bell crank lever. If this theta is 90 degree, then cos of theta will be 0. So the reaction at the fulcrum will be R is equal to under root of F square plus P square. Here you can see the example, 90 degree lever. The theta angle is 90 degree. It is called as bell crank lever. Here is nothing but application of one application of that lever. So after the angular contact lever, here we can find out in the step 2, design of lever arm. How to find out the dimensions of that lever arm means cross section. The cross section of lever arm may be a rectangular, here like this, may be a rectangular or maybe a elliptical, or sometimes it is eye shaped. Here may be rectangular, may be elliptical, or maybe eye shaped. So how to find out that cross section? So here we can see basically the lever arm is getting subjected to the bending moment. It is considered it is a cantilever beam type. Here fixed at the end, one end, and force is applied at the other end. So that's why bending moment will be developed. So how to find out the bending moment? And that bending moment will be maximum at this point, where the largest farthest point from the effort P. So bending moment is nothing but P into this distance. L1 is nothing but distance up to this one minus D1. Right. So this is nothing but the bending moment. To finding out the bend, after finding out the bending moment, we need to find out the moment of inertia of cross section. So based on the type of cross section, maybe rectangular, maybe elliptical, maybe I sectional, we have to find out the area moment of inertia. For the rectangular cross section, I is nothing but BD cube by 12 and Y is nothing but D by 2 for the distance from the neutral axis. Right. Where the B is the distance parallel to neutral axis. You can see here distance parallel to neutral axis, and D is the distance perpendicular to neutral axis. The dimensions of D is usually taken as twice of the B. That is nothing but the times, most of the times this rectangular cross section D is equal to 2 times of B. So this is for the rectangular. If the section is elliptical one, if the elliptical cross section, the moment of inertia is nothing but this one, where A and B are major and minor axis of the elliptical section. Here does also major axis is twice of the minor axis. Right. So by that, knowing the moment of inertia of that particular cross section, we have to find out the bending stress. So bending stress simple equation is nothing but by bending equation mby upon I. So by that method, we can find out the bending stress in the lever. Now step number 3 is to design the fulcrum pin. Right. So fulcrum pin we have to design. Here we can see the fulcrum pin where the R is the reaction acting on that, and fulcrum pin and outer part is called as a bush and a boss, and between that boss and fulcrum pin, here between that two parts there will be a bush purpose. So fulcrum pin is subjected to radial reaction. The force acting on the boss of the lever and the pin are equal and opposite, right? The dimensions of the pin, D1 is the diameter and L1 is nothing but the length. So we have to design the pin based on the bearing condition consideration. How much amount of force, how much amount of pressure that pin can bear. That is nothing but the bearing consideration. And after designing the by bearing consideration, we have to check that dimensions whether these are safe or not by the shear consideration, because the pin may get shear off. Right. So there is always relative. Why we have to consider the bearing consideration is nothing but if there is always relative motion between the pin and the boss. Here pin and boss, it is always having a relative motion. That's why it is bearing consideration becomes the design criteria. So by the bearing pressure, by the bearing consideration, we can find out the bearing pressure. So bearing pressure on the pin, here in this diagram we can see the R is acting on the pin, R is the force acting on the pin, and here is nothing but the pressure created. So that pressure is created in this cylindrical area, so that we have to consider this projected area D1 into L. So here bearing pressure is nothing but force reaction R divided by area is nothing but D1 into L. We consider the projected area here. So where P is nothing but permissible bearing pressure. So and by that calculating is suppose by this equation we can calculate some dimensions, and we have to check that dimension whether these are safe or not. So we have to check that by the shear stress, that is nothing but the shear stress is force per unit area. As there is a double shear, that's why here 2 is taken. So 2 times shearing area is nothing but pi by 4 into d1 square. D1 is the diameter of pin. So this is nothing but the design of pin. Basic difference is nothing but here we consider the bearing pressure. So what is difference between bearing pressure and compressive stress? That is the main concern. So here is the basic difference between bearing pressure and crushing or compressive stress, we call it as. Here we can see the bearing pressure is considered when there is a relative motion between the two surfaces, such as surface of the pin and bush. Right. On the other hand, crushing stress is considered when there is a no relative motion. So as there is a no relative motion, in that case, we consider the compressive stress. And if there is a relative motion between two parts, like pin and bush, then we have to consider the bearing pressure here. Here we can see the bearing pressure is always low as 10 Newton per mm square, and the compressive stress is high, such as 150 Newton per mm square. See, here are some examples: the rotating shaft in the bearing, a fulcrum pin of the lever, a power screw rotating inside the nut are the example where the bearing pressure is to be considered in the bearing consideration is the design consideration. And here are some examples of the contact area between the cotter and spigot end. We discussed that cotter and spigot design, and cotter and socket end between knuckle pin and eye. All these design we have covered in the previous sessions. So these are the examples where crushing stress is criteria for the design. Means we have taken that crushing stress in that case, particular stress, and here we are considering in the design of pin of the lever, we are considering the bearing pressure. That is the basic difference we need to understand. So here are some examples of bushes used in angular contact levers. Here actual diagrams are there where the angular contact levers and bushes are used. Here is an example of bush and pin. Here is a pin inserted in the bush. That is a cut sectional view I have shown here. So these are the examples, simple examples. So this is the end. So if you have, so this is nothing but the end of design of levers. Thank you.